Clock's ticking in as the hours roll on the U.S. federal government, inching closer to the debt ceiling limit tonight at midnight. Congress debates multiple ways to approach raising the current $16.7 trillion debt limit. The rhetoric's running high on both sides of the aisle. From debt default to government showdowns, Joe Krier, president of Krier Wealth Management, is here to discuss what's at stake, how it ties together, and what it means for all of us. So I heard one analyst who basically said, if they don't resolve this, and they don't resolve it in the long term, we could be in for another Lehman-like collapse.
Yeah, that's the extreme, but it certainly is a possibility. I mean, as Jane indicated, we've seen the markets kind of reacting to every ebb and flow in this negotiation. If they ended up doing nothing, confidence would be so shaken in the U.S.'s ability to literally lead the world on an economic basis that, that they wouldn't buy our bonds from us, and then it's gig up for us, and we kind of have to start from scratch.
Isn't that confidence already shaken? I mean, some of the major world powers, want to raise interest rates, and they don't trust the U.S. right now.
Yeah, and, talking about Fitch potentially downgrading our debt, that's just like you or I's credit score going from 800 to 400 because we're not paying our bills. In this case, Fitch is just worried that the U.S., they've negotiated for so long that they're bickering right up to the very end. People are losing confidence. They change our credit score, and then all of a sudden it costs us a little more money to borrow from the rest of the world.
And even if they reach that midnight deadline, we're just talking about a Band-Aid here because we're stuck back in the mud come January. So they really need to look at this long term.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's good and bad. It's good in that we have a dialogue going at least, and I mean, you could call it bickering, and the way it's reported sometimes is people just screaming at each other about the issues when you and I really don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes there. There is discussion. It's making progress. At this point, it looks like neither side is necessarily winning, but at least there's a dialogue there.
Let's talk about the issues. First, let's describe the money issues that are at stake right here.
Yeah, I mean, the debt ceiling itself just says, hey, we're borrowing more than we're bringing in, so we need to borrow more every day. The U.S. has about a $60 billion daily budget, so we're up against that. The government shutdown is there because the budget hasn't been passed.
Of course, there's the Affordable Care Act, which is, really what's the most divisive of issues on Capitol Hill.
Sort of stuck in the middle here, and big business just doesn't know what they have to deal with. They don't know how the health care plan is going to impact them because there are still pieces of that are in play here. And then, of course, sequestration would be mandatory spending cuts come January 1. That's another big sticking point that's being negotiated. The White House wants that off the table. The Republicans want to keep it there so that we can have some accountability going forward.
So when you take a look at this, people understand, okay, they need to raise the debt ceiling, otherwise we won't be able to meet our financial obligations. The world markets may raise interest rates. Those might be some problems. But how does it boil down to problems for you and me?
Yeah, when you clear it all away, the U.S. is still the strongest economy on earth. And we do have a standard of living that eclipses almost everywhere else on earth. When you start chipping away at the quality of our financial system, you're chipping away at the quality of life. If our debt rating changes, interest rates go up for Treasury bonds, that affects everything from buying a new car to a big ticket item like a refrigerator. On a bigger scale, it can slow down an economic recovery and keep the jobs numbers where they're at. So, it does trickle into every part of our lives.
How about the other issues of Social Security, Medicare, welfare, those three things?
Yeah, those are the big long-term issues here, and we can sit here and bicker about, as you indicated, 30 days of this or 90 days of that, but we know that there's more and more people going on Social Security and Medicare every day, and there's fewer taxpayers to pay those bills. Those are the issues that they're going to have to sit up and actually deal with at some point before we get to a crisis point that forces our hand.
Crystal ball time. Do they reach that midnight deadline, or do they throw up their hands and say, you know what, we're too far apart, we'll just continue to deal with this as we have to?
I think they will reach it because they know what's at stake. And by the way, we do have some wiggle room here. If they don't get it done by midnight tonight, there's ways they can do accounting tricks to stretch us into early November, and they likely will do that because there's procedural tasks that need to get done to get this passed. But everybody knows what's at stake. In the end, they all want to do what's best for the country, set politics aside, and keep life going good for you and me.
Joe Krier from Krier Wealth Financial Management. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.